Hello everyone, and happy Friday. So, today we're going to go over, and today it's raining outside. Good day to stay inside for a class. Today we have a class on the pagan origins of Easter and Easter foods from around the world. Okay, well it says here that everyone loves Easter, so whether it's the chocolate bunnies or egg hunts, which we gotta do, but did you ever stop to think where it came from? How did the celebration of the biblical figure's resurrection come to be celebrated with rabbit and chocolate eggs? Well, may never know until today. Actually, the world has known for quite a while. Well, we have these traditions because Easter was originally a pagan festival, much like Christmas. So it began as a pagan festival. As Christianity gained popularity, a lot of pagan customs and rituals were integrated into Christian festivals like Easter. So let's take a closer look at these festivals. So, the pagan origins of Easter. So, while Christmas was a celebration of winter solstice, which is kind of, it's a Christian celebration of the solstice. So, Easter was a celebration of the spring equinox for the pagans. Pagans lived their lives in strong accordance with nature's rhythms and patterns, and solstices and equinoxes were considered to be sacred times. A solstice marks the longest or shortest day of the year, while an equinox symbolizes a day when there is balance between daylight and darkness. So this shows the end of one season and the beginning of another. In the northern hemisphere, Easter falls on the spring equinox, when winter is coming to an end and nature experiencing a rebirth and renewal. This is naturally a cause for festivities and celebrations as the darkness comes to an end and plants and leaves start to regrow after the cold and dreary winter. So again, it began with just the celebration of the equinoxes, which pagans considered very sacred times. And then, so that's how it started with them. So how did Christianity kind of start to adopt this? So around mid-300 AD, Christianity was increasing in popularity in Rome, which at the time was the center of the world. And around in the year 312 AD, the Emperor Constantine converted to Christianity and put an end to the ongoing persecution of Christians. That being said, he knew just because he had converted, it didn't mean the pagans would stop following their rituals and traditions of equinoxes and solstices and all that good stuff. So he slowly started to adopt existing pagan rituals into Christian festivities in a way to kind of stamp out the celebration of the pagans and say, yeah, this is really kind of a Christian thing. Stolen, kind of, pretty much. And then in about 13 years later, in 325 AD, the church council known as the Council of Nicaea first decided that Easter celebration should fall on the Sunday after the first full moon of the spring equinox. And thus, Easter Sunday was born. And symbols associated with nature's rebirth and renewal came to be associated with the rebirth and resurrection of Christ. In most of Europe, the Easter celebration gets its name from the Jewish festival of Passover. So this is where, Easter gets its name from. I skipped over that part a little bit. So Passover, which occurs in a similar time to the spring equinox. So in Greece, Easter is called Pascha. In Italy, it's Pasqua. In France, it's Pâques. And in Denmark, it's Paski. Hopefully I got that somewhere near right. But in German and English-speaking countries like England, Easter took its name from the pagan goddess Eostra, the goddess of spring and fertility. All right, so let's think about Easter's symbolism in foods. So where did all this symbolism come from? Like, why eggs? Why rabbits and eggs? Rabbits don't lay eggs, they have babies, lots of babies, but no eggs. So where did this all come from? And why chocolate? So where did the eggs come from? Well, again, eggs, symbol of a baby or of life. So eggs are a symbol of new life and rebirth, just as nature returns to life after the cold of winter, or the person in the Bible who was resurrected after the crucifixion. Decorating and eating Easter eggs first became a custom during the Middle Ages when people would decorate and eat hard-boiled eggs following Easter Sunday Mass after fasting throughout Lent. So Lent is a time that you're supposed to fast, not eat anything. Like before Lent, what you do is you eat a bunch because you know you're going to have to starve yourself for a while at Lent. But then eggs are a really good way of getting some quick protein, things like that. And so why not make it fun? So then they would not only do that, but they would also color the eggs. So the ritual is so popular in many European countries where you'll find families hand painting and eating actual non-chocolate eggs on Easter. My parts of my family, they don't. They grew up Catholic. They're not really practicing Catholics, but they do that. Same thing. They paint the eggs, and the next day they eat them. That's a weird thing because I grew up obviously differently in the Mormon church, and we did paint Easter eggs, but we never ate them. It would just be like, hey, look what we made. Right in the garbage. It makes more sense to eat them. I mean, the paint isn't going to do anything to the actual egg. So just so you know, you're not going to get sick. That's why you take the shell off. If you eat it with the shell on, yeah, but then you got some problems because you're eating shelled eggs. So why is Easter associated with a rabbit? A wascally wabbit. Now the eggs make sense. But how did a rabbit come to all this? The symbolism can be especially strange when you consider the fact, like I said before, they don't lay eggs. Rabbits don't. But it all ties back to the concept of fertility, rebirth, and renewal as celebrated by the pagans. The sacred symbol of the goddess Eostra was a hare, or a rabbit. And rabbits have long been considered a symbol of fertility due to their ability to reproduce quickly and in large numbers. So, like, typical human child takes about 9 months, much shorter for a rabbit. And they don't just have one, they have a bunch of them. But the first official mention of rabbits or hares in association with Easter was made in 1722 in a folklore book written by George Frank von Frackenau, a German writer. One of the stories recounted in this book mentions that an Easter hare that hides colored eggs for children to find. The first written mention of an Easter egg hunt. Since the book was a collection of folklore, it's reasonable to suggest that Easter egg hunts were already a custom at the time. In the 19th century, the greeting card industry, yeah, so Easter eggs were already, hunts were already going on. So this guy just kind of introduced the rabbit. Like, hey, I bet a rabbit. Why not? And let's put them together with eggs. But that's where the rabbit and eggs thing came from. So why do we? Okay, and then also in the 19th century, the greeting card industry experienced a boom. This was because more people were able to send and receive letters and parcels by post. I mean, the Transcontinental Railroad has come through, so people were getting mail. Like Hallmark started to really market particular holidays with fun and festive greeting cards. And Easter, of course, was one of them with the eggs. So cards would appear with the cute little rabbits and the Easter eggs, popularizing the connection between Easter bunny rabbits, and colorful eggs. Now, chocolate. Why do we eat chocolate on Easter? Because it's really good. So when did we stop eating hard-boiled eggs and start eating chocolate eggs and bunnies instead? It's around the same time the greeting cards were booming. In Germany, it was popular to eat sweet edible Easter bunnies. These were made from a sugared pastry. So at the time, chocolate was considered consumed as a beverage rather than a solid sweet, and was still rather bitter as cocoa is known to be. However, Cadbury, then still a new company, was experimenting with solid forms of chocolate and started, I'm sure, adding milk. They jumped on the Easter bandwagon and started marketing chocolate Easter eggs, and we never stopped eating them, and today chocolate Easter eggs and bunnies are one of Easter's biggest treats. So, as I said, it was not Cadbury that really bolstered Easter. It was Easter that actually saved Cadbury, or bolstered Cadbury. Now, why do we eat hot cross buns on Easter? I don't even know what that is. So let's see. What on earth is a hot cross bun? That is a hot cross bun. That looks familiar. I do. Okay, so what is this? So believe it or not, hot cross buns are another pagan tradition. These were baked. These were taken from the Saxons, who would bake fresh bread in honor of the goddess Eostra. The fresh buns would be marked with a cross. At the time, the cross represented the 4 quarters of the moon, so not anything religious, 4 seasons, and the wheel of life. So it's pretty easy to see, though how hot cross buns stayed on after the buns were adopted to Christian festivities, where the symbol of a cross had the strong connection to the crucifixion of a certain biblical character. A person, sorry, I think. Anyway, traditional Easter foods from around the world. So what do they do around this crazy world when it comes to Easter? Okay, well, in France, they have a 15,000 egg omelet. That's a lot of eggs, I must say. So it does sound extravagant, but this mega omelet is created with the intention of distributing it amongst the many villages and towns surrounding Basseries in France. I probably said that way off, but I apologize. About 40 cooks, to make 15,000 egg omelet, about 40 cooks come together to create this giant omelet. The result is handed out to surrounding villagers and served with a slice of bread. That may be a few eggs too many for you this Easter, 15,000, yeah. I mean, you're hotter out, Paul Newman. You would have put a little bit of a dent in it. Why not join by the spirit of generosity and cook up a giant French omelet to distribute to the poor and needy? At the very least, you can share a mega omelet with your family members and enjoy the spirit of togetherness. Well, if you know how to make an omelet, they're not that hard. Enjoy one with your family. Then you got codfish cakes from Bermuda. So don't read this the wrong way. Codfish cakes, it is not a cake in the sugary sense. It is a savory dish, much like well-known fried fish cakes. So you can make these yourself or go out and have a Bermuda-inspired chef some food. But really, it's not that hard. But what else do they eat in Bermuda for Easter? None other than the hot cross buns. So apparently that's pretty popular. Then you have dove-shaped Easter bread from Italy. So colomba di Pasqua is a traditional Italian bread or cake, recognized as being the Easter version of the infamous Christmas dessert panettone, which is very good. The dough is similar to panettone, but that's where the similarities end. Colomba di Pasqua is traditionally shaped like a dove, contains candied fruit peels. I mean, sure, those are good. And is topped with lots of almonds and pearl sugar. I'll try it, but candied fruit peels. Another popular Easter dish in Italy is brodedo pasquale, which is similar to a frittata that's made using early spring vegetables. Again, eggs are a strong symbol here, as well as the freshness of spring veggies and the first renewal of plants. Try your hand at making these recipes or enjoy them as part of an around-the-world Italian Easter feast. And finally, we come to braided bread from Greece, and also lamb and eggs. I already know I like this. I love Greek food. So Greek Orthodox Easter falls on a different date to Catholic Easter, but there's still plenty of feasting to be enjoyed after Easter Sunday. On a Greek Easter table, you find the delicious roasted lamb, red-dyed hard-boiled eggs, and tzatziki. Yeah, tzatziki. This is a type of braided bread that's flavored with orange zest and spices. Could be good. The red-dyed eggs are typically served on the bread before baking. Interesting. As a snack, there will be plenty of cheesy phyllo pastries on both the sweet and savory varieties. Cheesy phyllo pastries. Yeah. Yum, yum. Like we said, Easter comes with quite the feast in Greece. I know where I'm going for Easter if I ever celebrate it somewhere. So you can either spend the lead up being busy in the kitchen, or let the private chef do all the work for you. Private chef. Yeah, I'd rather have somebody who really knows. So that's it. That is Easter, the pagan beginnings, how it was adopted into Christianity, how the eggs and the bunnies and the chocolaties all came together, and ways to actually celebrate it in different forms. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and you all have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you later on. Ciao for now, everybody.